mentally you didn't fit, physically didn't fit, spiritually didn't fit. So it makes it very difficult for things to work. And a lot of relationships fail because they only checked one box off. They liked what they saw.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of The Human Blueprint. I am Angelo, and we're here with Herman. And is this an exciting topic, Herman?
It depends on your side of the coin. Are you in it or are you out of it? Like once you drop what the topic is, let's see, because some people are a little sensitive to it.
Okay, well, let's drop the topic on them. I mean, you've seen the title, maybe you read the description, so you know that we're talking about relationships. We have a day coming up pretty soon that somehow is popular, and it's somehow recognized as a holiday, right? Would it be recognized as a holiday?
I wouldn't say a full holiday because I would just say it's recognized as a day.
Yeah. But every day should be recognized as like a significant day with your loved ones or your partner, your relationships. So that's the topic. That's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to go over a few different areas and segments and bring some value to you. So if you have a great relationship, if you have a not so great relationship, then this episode's for you. I'm sure there'll be something to learn. But the very first place that we want to start is we want to talk about fitment. And what does that mean? It means finding the right partner. So for me, like I've had previous relationships in my life where, and this goes beyond just like a partner or a romantic relationship. It's also like, to me, when I think of relationships, I think about friend groups as well. And there's been times where I've had relationships that it wasn't the right fitment. You know, I chose them out of like where I was at that point, and where I was at that point wasn't necessarily my true self, or it wasn't who I am. And so what I mean by that is like the popular kids, like I used to hang out with that circle and that group. And I did that because it was like the cool kids. Who wouldn't want to hang out with the cool kids? But that wasn't necessarily who I was, but that's who I chose for who I was at that time. And that led to obviously other relationships and things like that. So when we talk about fitment, Herman, I know a lot of people reach out and they want to find the right partner, or they're wondering if this person is right for them. Every case is so different and unique, but is there some type of general advice that you could give to the people that want to find who's right for them, or is questioning if someone's right for them?
So before we answer that, Angelo, how about we dive a little further? So let's see what happens when you're in the wrong fitment. So let's say you buy a pair of shoes, and let's say you're 10 or 12 and the shoes is 16, okay, or an 18. Is that a good fit?
No, because you're going to be tripping over your feet. You're probably going to fall a few times.
Okay. Let's say you have a pair of pants and the waistline is a 30, but your waist is a 40. Is that a good fit?
No, you're going to have major stomach issues and you're not going to be able to make it through the dinner meal.
Okay. So let's say you wear a size 50 jacket, but what was on the stand was a size 40R regular in men's. So is that a good fitment?
No, you're not going to be able to move.
Right? So you see how fitment is so important? So
Yeah.
not just in just clothes or garments, but in everything. You cannot put a square peg in a round hole. And so you have to understand that fitment is so important. And I'm pretty sure you can see some people, Angelo, from growing up and all around us, like certain things just don't fit. Certain things are not going to fit the same as they once did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you said relationships, when you were talking about fitment, just because it fit before, it doesn't mean it's still going to fit now. I've seen so many people hold on to their high school days, because they were on the football team, and they keep wanting to relive that, and they're in their 40s and they just want to keep reliving that, but yet time's done. They have no hair. They're overweight. Like they have so many aches and pains, and you know, then they're stuck in that point of time. And so the fitment is where everybody's evolved. Maybe they have kids. Maybe they have better jobs. Maybe they're taking care of their parents now. All these things. But the person who's still stuck in the past hasn't caught up. So it's hard for them to fit in to their friends of the past, or hard for them to fit into the groups they hung around before. And so just because we fit into a certain space now or before, it doesn't mean we fit into it now or later, right? And so things will change, we will change, and we have to make sure we're evolving first, understand that first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about fitment, it can't just be, oh, I like them, they like me. Or, you know what, this is the closest thing I can find, proximity to where I am, just do it. That's not fitment.
Right. That sounds like settling.
You could say that, yeah. That's not where happiness resides, okay? So when we talk about good fitment, I want everyone who's listening to understand. It is not just, oh, you can talk nice to each other. It's not just that, you're in close proximity. It's not just all these external things. Good fitment is when you can basically, one person starts the conversation and the other person already picks up where you're going to go with it. That's part fitment. Good fitment is, both parties take care of their body, so they work out, they make sure they eat well, they make sure like they're compatible on that side, versus, you know what, I eat this, you eat the complete opposite, but you know what, I just like how you look, you just like how I look, so we're just going to see what we can do to make it work. That's not a good fitment physically. And then spiritually, if you have certain beliefs, let's say someone has religious beliefs and someone has atheist beliefs, well, that's not a good fitment, because then when let's say children get involved, or let's say families get involved, it becomes a little more difficult to navigate, especially if this side is very strong and then this side is very strong. It's very difficult. So mentally, you didn't fit, physically didn't fit, spiritually didn't fit. So it makes it very difficult for things to work. And a lot of relationships fail because they only checked one box off. They liked what they saw.
Yeah. I've seen that time and time again.
Yeah.
It's interesting too. When you were talking, I was thinking about, you ever notice how like couples they almost look alike?
Yeah.
So I've noticed this all the time, where you see like a couple and they'll just kind of mirror each other with the way they look, the way they act. Same thing with even pets. I know that pets, we've talked about this before, where they start to take on the energy of their owner. So they'll start to look like their owner. They start to act like their owner. So when we talk about fitment, do a lot of people just somehow, and I'm not going to use the word attract, but maybe I will use the word attract. I'll ask you the question, Herman. When we talk about fitment, do people kind of like attract likes? The likes attract, or how does that work?
It's more acclimation. So if they see something over here, they see what they are, they're like, well, this is close enough. And when we get closer and closer, and then through osmosis, it's like, okay, well, this can work, that can work. Okay, so we'll see if this can make it work. But when we talk about real fitment, when I talk about fitment, it's not just you want to have someone on a certain level, because like we said before, you want to make sure, okay, that's where you are, but it doesn't mean that that's where you're going to be forever, because that's not evolution. Evolution says, you know what, I need to find someone, not just romantic, but like say in business, let's say in partners, let's say in friendships, social circles. Fitment is also where if this is where you are, and evolution is the name of the game, then you must make sure that this is worth the investment. Which means if you put time, energy, resources into this, does it mean that that fitment can evolve together? Or is it that you're going to outgrow that very, very quickly? Or is it that means that you're going to outgrow certain people very, very quickly? A good fit is, you know what, these people support me, I support them. You know what, it doesn't matter like what they say, what they do. It's like, you just know as if like you play for the same team. You just know that you're in it to grow. You know that things are not always going to be tough forever, right? because these people are going to help get you through it. And so that's a good fitment because everyone keeps going towards like a common target or a common goal. But if it becomes where a lot of those people just become like vampires and they want to suck all the life out of it or siphon all the happiness out of it and just want to be a victim, it makes it very difficult for that fitment to evolve. It makes it very difficult for that fitment to really grow. And it's just like the shoes, the pants, the jacket, the shirt, whatever it may be. You have to make sure that the fitment fits. Otherwise, you'll start to notice when things aren't in proportion. Like let's say your shoes, your foot is like this and the shoes like this, or your waist is like this and your pants are like this. You got to be very careful because you have to make sure that things are fit in, and you have to make things fit and not be afraid if they don't. Because like you said, a lot of people become that person, or the couples look alike or pets look alike them. What if they were separated now? What if there was something that separated or something that came between them? Maybe there was an argument. Are they still going to have the same strength? Are they going to still be able to get through it? Are they still going to evolve together? And when we talk fitment, we have to say, are people in it for the long haul, or are people in it just for the short term? Because you have to be on the same page at every single moment so that fitment can grow stronger, that bond can be stronger, that acclimation can be stronger. If a lot of us don't have that understanding and we just settle, like you said, Angelo, the fitment is very difficult to evolve. The fitment is very difficult to really be comfortable in, and it would look like something doesn't fit. Could be the pants, could be the shirt, could be the shoes. Something just doesn't fit, something just doesn't add up. And then inside, if spiritually you're outpacing those you're around by, you need to get a different circle. You need to get a different fit, right? You can't be afraid to let go of, the old ones.
Exactly. I feel like your fitment will always, like it's supposed to evolve. Like you said, we're supposed to always evolve. So if your fitment isn't evolving, then you have to really look at, I guess, what you are doing to evolve, what changes you're making, and who you're becoming.
And environment is always key. Like we said, it has to be conducive for growth. So it's like when you plant something in the soil, let's say it's a carrot seed, okay? Put some carrot seed. If you don't have the right amount of sun, the right amount of water, the right amount of soil, healthy, clean soil, right? The right amount of temperature, it will not grow. You have to make sure that it has the right amount of sun, which means there's enough positivity. You have to make sure there's the right amount of food, which means physically you're matching each other, not just you're the only healthy person in the group or fit person in the group. Spiritually, you have to find people that can communicate on a higher plane, a higher level of communication, of consciousness. Otherwise, everybody's going to be here. And if you're up here, then you have to always keep coming down. So that's when we talk about fitment. It has to be mentally, physically, and spiritually.
So I know that like we always want to surround ourselves with people that are better than us. We don't want to be the smartest person in the room. So when it comes to fitment, and let's say for the people that feel like they don't belong in like a circle, or they don't belong talking to somebody with that much influence, like what would you say to the person that is struggling with having the self-worth to believe that they do deserve or belong in circles that are higher than where they're at right now?
Well, you got to release the handcuffs and the shackles, and that's called being a victim. Seeing so many people, Angelo, they are a victim of their circumstances, environment, whatever cards they were dealt, and they poor me. That's got to be removed from the equation first and foremost, right? Second part, if we're going to talk about fitment, picture this. Let's say, when you do puzzles, so only one piece of the puzzle can fit that one piece, correct? There's not two pieces that can fit the same spot. One piece for one spot, correct?
Correct.
Let's say life is your puzzle and the people you're around are the different pieces, okay? But if you force and you force and you force and it's not the right fit, what's going to happen? Is the puzzle going to be complete?
No.
So
You
right
may
there.
you may damage some pieces that way.
And you may become damaged yourself,
Hmm.
right? That's why when you look at how people who do the puzzle, they have a game plan. They understand, you know what, we have to get the corners first. Once we get the corners, then we work from corner outside in, right? But in order to do that, you need to have the picture on the box first so that you can realize it's actually inside out and then outside in. But if you didn't have the picture on the box and you just had all the pieces, you have no starting point, which means you don't have the formula, which is it's given on the box, and then it's very, very difficult. So in order for us to start, we have to go from inside first. So we say, okay, you know what? When I'm going in a relationship, I want to make sure mentally they can carry a conversation. Mentally, they're not going to drain me. Physically, they also having a good physical regimen. Spiritually, where they're willing to grow, where they're willing to stretch, where they're willing to look at those that came before us and how they brought peace to the world and what we can do to bring peace to the world now. So those are good fitment. So when we take these different pieces of the puzzle now and we're like, okay, I just met this new person. I think they're this piece. I think they fall into this. I think they would fit in this one, but it doesn't work. People become too attached too quickly and they keep forcing it and forcing it and forcing it and forcing it and forcing it. And then they call that life. But life was telling you, you know what, maybe this isn't the right fit. Maybe if we just look elsewhere and we can maybe find maybe something that fits just a little bit better, get closer to that perfect piece for that fitment to complete the full picture. And so that's what life actually is. It's like, this is one piece. This is the obstacle. It could be where, you know what, it doesn't fit here, it doesn't fit here. Oh, but you know what? This could be potential that it could fit here. So let's go find another one. And it's like mix and match, right? It's you have to not be afraid of the failure, right? The trial and error. Because you have let's say it's 5,000 pieces and most of it is blue. Well, you have one blue piece. Let's say you have to do 3,000 times before you find the one piece that fits in it.
Hmm.
But that's the practice, that's the experience. And it's showing us what we need to be doing. But everybody, they do something once, they jump in too early, they jump in too deep, they jump in where they can't come back. And it's very, very difficult then to put a better piece in its place.
So what I'm hearing is relationships are a lot like puzzles. I mean, there's a lot of lessons in that. There's, like you said, not giving up after one try, continuing 3,000, 5,000 times. There is the strategic aspect, right? You have to be strategic with what you put in to maybe see if that person is going to meet you halfway. And if they do, maybe you put in a little bit more. I know that we've talked about that. I know that's a question that gets asked all the time is, am I giving too much, or how do I know when to give? You know, are they meeting you halfway? It's strategic. Do you have the blueprint? You know, because if you don't have the blueprint in your relationships, if you don't have it to the puzzle, it's going to be really difficult to get to the end goal of what you want to complete that. So I think that there's a lot of lessons right there that you could take and you could apply to see if you have the right fitment in your life. Maybe think about what is out of fitment, what maybe you need to address so that you can continue to evolve. So this is a great, like, I think starting point in terms of relationships is really thinking about fitment.
The clearer you can get on what it is you expect out of those relationships as to what they expect out of us in terms of what we're bringing to the table, what we're doing, how we're helping them, how we're making a difference, right? Once we can get clearer on every single thing we're doing, the easier it gets. But if it's blurry on the image, the blurrier it is, it's more difficult to really find the right piece so that we can put it in the right spot.
Exactly. So I think that we laid down a great foundation. Herman, is there anything that you want to add to this first piece of relationships?
I feel we all need to listen twice as much as we speak. So if we can do that, that would help your relationship tremendously. Always see you and do your best to understand the other side before we say anything, because we want to make sure we fully understand something before we so-called give a rebuttal. And I think that's a very good thing we can apply to start, because I see so many people, they're so busy talking over each other. Nothing's heard, nothing is ever received, no communication, no signals received. It's very difficult for anybody to really build upon that. So if we're going to put the right puzzle piece in its place, but let's say, you know what, someone really can help us, you know, find that right piece and put it in the right place. But if we're not listening and we just feel, you know what, no, I know better. I'm going to put 3,000 attempts to finally get the one piece for that one little spot. You can do that, but it'll be forceful where you would think you know it all, but life is giving you maybe like a little hand to say, you know what, if we just listen a little more, maybe this person understands there's a strategy to it. Maybe this person can understand to help you. Maybe this person understands to maybe open your eyes to a new perspective that you didn't see before.
Exactly. Sometimes that involves taking a step back and seeing the bigger picture, like you talk about.
It's like a camera, right? The lens, you got to make sure you have the right one on.
Exactly. Well, want to hear from everybody else. We want to hear from you guys about relationships and about fitment. So go ahead and leave a comment so that we can see it. We can continue the conversation. And we definitely want to extend this to a part 2. So if you're watching this now, next week, we're going to have a part 2. So be sure to tune into that as well. And the best way to do that is to subscribe, like, turn on notifications to ensure that you don't miss it, because we're going to dive in the next episode more into what actually causes problems in relationships. So be sure to join us over on that episode. Herman, any final thoughts?
Yeah, so let's just keep our heads up high. Let's make sure we put our best efforts and ensure we keep getting smarter so that we don't keep repeating the same mistakes twice.
Exactly. So we'll expect you to be a little smarter and to keep your head up a little higher by the time the next episode's released. And we'll talk to you and we'll see you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.